Politics of marriage equality do not seem complicated to the Democratic Party, but Republicans continue to find new lines of opposition to marriage equality.
LGBT Americans are our colleagues, our teachers, our soldiers, our friends, our loved ones. And they are full and equal citizens and deserve the rights of citizenship. That includes marriage.
We must fight in every state to make sure that marriage remains between one man and one woman, and as president, I will do that.
The United States of America, a constantly growing and ever-changing nation. A nation that has overcome issues during periods like the women's rights movement, a time when there was no such thing as gender equality, and the civil rights movement, a time of racial segregation and vast bigotry caused by the color of one's skin. Yet in today's society, the nation continues to find itself divided on an issue of human rights once again, this time marriage equality. The topic of sexuality and same-sex relationships has been a matter of discussion throughout American history. In 1924, the Society for Human Rights was established in Chicago as the first recognized gay rights organization in the United States. Many believe that the society is a precursor to the modern gay liberation movement. However, the discussion of same-sex marriage was not debated until 50 years later. In an early case in 1972, Baker v. Nelson, two student activists from the University of Minnesota wanted to get married and applied for a license. They were denied on the grounds that they were two men, not a man and woman. The case went to court all the way up to Minnesota's Supreme Court, but the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear the case because they believed it lacked substantial federal question.
You see, homosexuality, immorality generally, these are the enemies of strong societies. That's why the communists and the left-wingers are pushing each other. They're trying to destroy us.
With a new wave of citizens pushing towards LGBT rights and ultimately marriage equality, many individuals and politicians began to take an opposing stance on this issue. Those that object to the union of same-sex couples believe in the traditional definition of marriage and are completely against the redefinition on what they believe is one of the nation's most basic social institutions. However, a large majority of conservatives believe the gay marriage issue is a states' right issue, since there is no explicit language regarding the subject in the Constitution. At the same time, if a federal amendment nationalizing the practice of gay marriage were to be passed, many conservatives believe it would be an example of government interfering with their ethical right to practice their religion.
We want to get back to the constitutional principles, the free market principles that served as the foundation for our nation.
Unless action is taken, we can expect more arbitrary court decisions, more litigation, more defiance of the law by local officials, all of which adds to uncertainty. After more than 2 centuries of American jurisprudence and millennia of human experience, a few judges and local authorities are presuming to change the most fundamental institution of civilization. Their actions have created confusion on an issue that requires clarity.
With the creation of bills such as the Defense of Marriage Act that defined and protected the institution of marriage between a man and woman, and proposals like Proposition 8 that eliminated the rights of same-sex couples to marry in California, a new era began that ignited the flame in those supporting marriage equality to seek their idea of ethical justice. The goal of those that support marriage equality is to secure legally recognized civil marriage equality for all, without regard to sexual orientation or gender identity, at the state and federal level. They believe that marriage is redefined as society's attitudes evolve, and that gay marriage is protected by the Constitution's commitments to liberty and equality. Currently, 17 states have legalized same-sex marriage, while the remaining 33 continue the ban on it. While the debate continues, it is evident that more Americans are leaning towards the acceptance and tolerance of marriage equality. However, like all great debates, it will take time to ultimately figure out a resolution for this ethical issue on the definition of marriage. Opposers will continue to push for their belief of traditional marriage that has been throughout our country's history, while supporters will move forward to redefine marriage and create a new norm.
But this vote is not about politics. It's not about Democratic politics or Republican politics. It's not about who contributed to what campaign. It's not about who tried to make this body one party or another. It has absolutely nothing to do with this. This vote is about an issue of fairness and equality, not political.